The wait is finally over. As promised, we have the 50 minutes minor poison wall breakers guide for you here. So if you want to get good in Clash Royale, instead of switching to new decks every day, I recommend to you just pick up one deck and stick to it. And if that deck is minor poison for you, which is probably why you're here in the first place, well then, congratulations, you have picked a really good deck. And watch this video carefully because I'm gonna share all my experience. I've included some popular decks from last season's end where I faced people in top 3 and 2000 ranked in the world. So my opponents weren't really average players you see every day. And if you actually implement the tips I give you guys into your own gameplay, you might actually be able to hit your best finish for this season. And what I'm basically gonna do in today's video, I'm gonna give you overall tips for each matchup. I'm gonna teach you some tricks, how to do them, when to do them, and whom I've learned these tricks from. Or maybe I've just learned them by myself from playing hours daily. And I hope you guys actually enjoy it. I put so much effort on this guide. It's a bit late, but I actually was busy. So I hope you guys understand. And so many guys have been asking if I'm Turkish. Well, yes, I'm from Iran and I speak Turkish, if that makes sense to you guys. And I've said it before, but since you guys were asking again, I just wanted to mention it here again. It's kind of obvious from the accent, but you know, that's the main goal on this channel, making improvements in English. I've made a lot of improvements and I'll make improvements again. I'll keep doing it day by day. I hope you guys enjoy it and make sure to join the family. We are about to reach 1000 subscribers. Anyways, that's for the information about the video. See you guys in the first game. Okay, so this wouldn't really be a full guide without mirror matchup. In the first game here, we're going to be up against a minor poison player just like ourselves. With only one twist, he's going to be playing with the goblin hut, but I don't think that makes too many difference, to be fair. I mean, too much difference. And, well, key card in this matchup is spear goblins. Guys, in order to defend the wall breakers, I keep my spear goblins in hand, and let's say they go with minor wall breakers, okay? I ignore the minor, I go with spear goblins on top of the wall breakers, and then I log. And that's just a perfect defense. But there are some other tips you can do. For example, whenever they go with bats and knight at the bridge, you can actually respond with a bomb tower. And by the way, if you time your spear goblins correctly, you actually can defend the wall breakers for no damage, just like I did there. But you need to have a really quick reaction timing. Okay, here I go with knight just to block the spear goblins, and I go with evil wall breakers just to block the bats and kill them, and that was a really good defense. We go with log on the left. Perfect start for us here. I mean, not that perfect, but we have done damage on both his towers. And that's the thing going for me right now. I go with minor bats. Just because I know that he's not going to be able to defend them in a really decent way. Okay, he drops his knight and spear goblins. I block the spear goblins with the knight so that my bats get value, and then I go with wall breakers immediately. He could have defended them with a goblin hut here, but then he would have been really low on elixir. And guys, this is what I'm talking about, spear goblins and then log. This is not basically what I meant. They usually go minor on top of the tower and then wall breakers, but it works anyways. And here I go with bomb tower, just as I told you guys. Bomb tower bomb takes out the bats, so you don't need to do anything for them. And here he does a really bad mistake. He goes with wall breakers into the face of my knight. I go with log and spear goblins just to make sure we don't take any damage. And here he does a really good play. He ignores my minor and goes with dual lane push, but I won't let anything happen. Here I let the wall breakers connect. Okay guys, first tip with the stick. Sometimes you need to sack damage. It's not like you always have to do a perfect defense. No, I just let the wall breakers go there so that I actually could save my elixir, and now we have split damage on both towers, so it's okay. But from now on, I won't let him get much damage on my left side tower because he's gonna be going for my left side tower. Okay, now I go with wall breakers on the left as well, and then miner. I know that he doesn't have any good response to miner, and then we log just to take out the hot, and guess what guys, he doesn't have any good response to the bats as well. He gets lucky, I guess, with the log there, because the knight actually did a Bluetooth connection and killed the wall breakers, but it doesn't matter here. Guys, you need to be really aware of your opponent's cycle. I know he was gonna be back to bats and spear goblins, so I go poison on his tower just to kill the troops, and then we go with bomb tower just to take out the wall breakers, and that was just a perfect first game. See you guys in the next match. The next game here is gonna be mortar bait. This deck was really popular back in the day, but it kind of fell off, and it's kind of back, I would say, in the meta. In this matchup, the best trick you need to learn is to activate your king tower with the help of mortar. Just look at that. We activate the king tower, and now he can't even threaten us with the miner in the back. Like, this trick actually can save you a lot of times. Obviously, the game isn't over, but now it's in my favor. I would say it's a 60-40 matchup, or even 70-30. When we talk about the miner and the swarm cards, obviously the mortar is not gonna make any difference on mortar because it's a siege card. I've learned this trick, like I've seen this trick for the first time from Yerson CZ, a Colombian 2.6 player. I used to watch him back in the day on his channel, and he used to do this with skeletons, and then I figured out that it actually can be done with the spear goblins as well. I think the only two cards that can do this trick are spear goblins and skeletons. And if you just learn the timing, it's gonna save you so many times. The timing is a bit hard to master, but if you do it, you're gonna have a really easier time. Anyways, and some people actually consider him the best 2.6 player of all time, but I wouldn't really say that because of the finishes. I think Oyasu is the best 2.6 player, like overall, but if we talk about the OGs, I would say Jack. Like, Jack has number 1 finish with Hawk Cycle 2.6, and he did it in the time that no one was playing with the deck. Like, he was the only one playing with it, and I can tell you guys, most of the players that you know now that are a master with 2.6 were inspired by Jack himself. You probably know him, or if you're new to Clash Royale, you might not know him. He was a Japanese legend. Like, he was the first to ever kind of play the 2.6 like as good as you see today. And some people consider it a really toxic deck these days, but overall it's a really high skill deck, I would say, because, you know, if it's easy, why don't people play it on top ladder? Like, obviously mid ladder it's easy because everyone is running Mega Knight, Pekka, and like, let's say, E-Giant. People don't know how to counter 2.6, but on top ladder everyone knows how to play against it. So I would say it's a really hard deck to master, probably one of the highest skill cap decks in the game. And my first video on the channel was 2.6 gameplay from 2 years ago. I just wanted to test something, and I uploaded that video, and it's still special for me, even though it never got any attention. The views were from my own device, but it was the first video on channel. It was special, you know. Anyways, I just talked about past and didn't really give many tips. In this matchup, you should never be aggressive because they have arrows and they can just take out your troops really easily. First, get the activation, and whenever they don't have any good responses, you can go with miner. For example, here I know that he doesn't have his gank in his hand, so I go with miner. If I know they have gank in the hand, I wouldn't drop my miner, and I poison here for the Evo bats, and we get everything because he's actually panicking. The only thing that makes this matchup hard is arrows. Like if you just play patient and don't go aggressive with your miner, you're gonna win. But as I said, it can feel really tough. Whenever they go Evo Mortar, you need to watch out for it. Like it's all about the cycle, bro. I can't give any overall tips because this is a type of matchup that depends on the cycle and the player themselves. But in the double and triple, you can actually use your poisons defensively. Here we take the tower and we take the W. That was a perfect game. See you in the next match. Okay, next match is against 3.0 Expo. This matchup wasn't perfect. I actually made many mistakes, but because it was really kind of exciting and kind of really fun to watch, I wanted to include this game. I was down damage and I was behind. I was almost losing, but I made a comeback. In single elixir, when they go with archers, you can actually drop miner on top of one of the archers. Most of the time they're gonna block it, obviously, but you can still do it. I go with bats here just to figure out if he's playing with E-Spirit or Ice Spirit, and we see that it's Electro Spirit. Okay. The thing they do, they just spam archers just to get to the Evo. Anyways, I go with miner in the back, but he catches it with the knight. That was a really good catch. Maybe I should have dropped it in the front. It doesn't matter here. Okay, now I know that he has Expo in his hand. The only thing I can do, I can just go bomb tower just to block it. And I know his cycle. I'm gonna go with wall breakers at the breach because I know he doesn't have any lock. And then I go with knight because I know it's gonna be enough to take out the Expo. And if you just let that Expo lock, you're gonna lose. You're gonna instantly lose this matchup because it's a cycle matchup. Both players are playing with cycle decks, and if they get up in damage, you're not going to be able to make a comeback. And it's just Expo, and your cards are a bunch of bats and spear goblins. They can always defend that. Okay, that was a really good bats and miner, knowing that he doesn't have Electro Spirit in his hand. We pressured, but now he's going to Expo in one side. I see that that's a valuable poison for me. I go with knight and then poison just to take out that archer, but it's not gonna be enough. I decide to go with bats because I know he's not gonna be kill the Evo bats instantly, but if I go spear goblins, he's just gonna lock them away, right? He catches the miner again. Like he was getting really annoying with these miners, but he made a mistake here. He thought I'm gonna predict his skellies, but I didn't. Here I try to predict his expo. He doesn't drop it. Guess what? It doesn't matter. He starts fireball cycling. I respond with a poison on his tower because I can't just let him fireball cycle me, bro. Okay, after I see the electro spirit is out, I go with bats and miner immediately because I know when he doesn't have electro spirit, there is almost no way for him to defend my bats. There's two ways. He either has to fireball, which he can't do in single elixir or even double, or he has to go Evo Tesla, which he didn't have Evo Tesla at the time. I block the expo with my bomb tower and then I drop my knight. I drop my bats in the back and his electro spirit is out. I go with miner and then poison on everything just to get the Evo archers. Evo archers are the key card for them in this matchup, but for me, my key card is knight. I should never be out of knight if the opponent has expo. Like if the opponent has expo, you should be back to your knight. And if not, just try to predict their expo before they drop it. That's the only way you can win. Because even if you be able to defend and cycle back to a new log, I mean knight, they're gonna be back to a new expo. And here I just try to predict his expo, but this guy was really experienced. He didn't drop it. Here I dropped my poison. That was a bit overcommitment, but I kind of had to do it because, like, bro, I was down a lot. And here I just did the wall breakers just to predict his expo. But guess what? He just decides to change lanes and go on the right side. Here I let the expo go. I know that he's focused on the left side. It's okay if I take some damage on the right. I'll go with wall breakers just like this, just to force out something, and we force out arrows, and he starts fireball cycling. Like when they start fireball cycling, there's almost nothing you can do. But I won't stop. I just go pressure, non-stop pressure here. He cycles his luck, then I go with Spree Goblins and Wall Breakers immediately. I just drop everything on the field. I go with the luck just to take out the archers, and look at his cycle, bro. Because he used his luck, I just dropped my Spree Goblins and Wall Breakers. Just because he couldn't be back to a new one, and he was low on elixir, and that just costed him the game. If he wasn't really aggressive with the fireballs just like that, he would have won this game, but it actually made him lose. This was such a good match. You can watch it over and over again because I was done and I made a comeback, and that was a perfect game. See you guys in the next match. Okay, the next game here is gonna be recruits. I know most of you guys hate royal recruits, but let me tell you something. If you actually play really well, you can beat this matchup. It's not even that hard. And I will share you a trick that I've done myself. I haven't seen anyone do it. Here, watch this. I always go with miner like that. Not always, most of the time. Even if you don't predict something, because usually they drop their support units on the tile, you actually can pull the recruits back, and it's actually so good. Here he's gonna arrows, look at that. I know that he's gonna be low on elixir. Okay, I pressure with the miner and Spree Goblins as soon as I hit 5 elixir because I know he's low. And after he responds to my Spree Goblins, I'm gonna go with Wall Breakers on the right side. Look at his elixir bar. Okay, I did it on the left. Okay, that's what I would never usually do. It's a replay, so I don't remember what I've done like correctly, but I would have dropped the Wall Breakers on the right. Maybe I was thinking about something else in that time. Anyways, that's just a perfect start for us. The key card in this matchup, I would say, is bomb tower. Definitely bomb tower. You should always have your bomb tower for defense. And if you drop your bomb tower for the recruits, you need to watch out for their piggies. And if they, let's say, you need to cycle out their arrows in order to get value with the bats. Bats also get a lot of value when they don't have arrows in their hands. So if you want to get value with bats, try to make them or force them use the arrows. Let's say you pressure with wall breakers or you go Spree Goblins or anything. When they drop the arrows, your bats are gonna get so many value, especially against the flying machine, because you don't really have a direct counter to flying machine. Okay, and that's what I'm talking about. We go with miner in the middle and we poison everything. And I drop my wall breakers just to keep everything in the middle, and that was just a perfect luck, let's be fair. Okay, that was terrible. I actually mistimed it. I should have dropped it a second earlier, but the cards were actually, my cards were actually dead, so there was no point doing it. I actually messed up here a bit. Like I should have defended that perfectly. I was just messing around with this guy. It doesn't actually matter because he doesn't have fireball and he's not gonna be able to take my tower. We go bomb tower just to defend the piggies, and we go wall breakers and stuff just to abuse the defensive value of their explosion. And that is game. Another perfect game. See you guys with the next match. Okay, so the next game here is gonna be 2.6 Hog. This is a classic matchup. 2.6 isn't really as popular as it used to be, but some players are so decent. Overall tip, try to survive until double and triple, you're gonna be okay. But good 2.6 players won't let that happen, and they will just cycle back to a new hog. Just look at that. After one skilly, he's gonna be back to a new hog, and I don't even have my bomb tower. The key card here is bomb tower. Try to cycle back to your bomb tower ASAP, but even if you don't, or if you cycle back to it in the last second, don't drop it, because they're gonna be back to a new hog. And try to learn how to defend without a bomb tower. Let's say they go ice golem and hog at the bridge and you don't have bomb tower. Okay, go with bats on top, like way top at the bridge, and then Spree Goblins onto the side, and then log. Like if you time that correctly, which I'm not going to be able to show it here because it didn't happen in this matchup, you can actually full defend the hog and ice golem. Like I'm not even kidding, bro. I've done that before. Maybe I have a clip of it. I don't remember correctly, but just keep that in mind. Whenever you don't have your bomb tower in hand, go with bats on top of everything at the bridge, and spear goblins to the side and then log. With a perfect time log, you're gonna be okay. And this guy was obsessed with Ice Golem Musketeer at the bridge. I don't know why. It wasn't even that good of a play. Here I go bats like this because I know the only way for him to kill them is fireballing. But if I drop them at the bridge, he's gonna get value with the other units. So I drop them at the, like in the middle, so he doesn't get any value. He just drops 4 elixir to kill 2 elixir cards. And I got a connection with the wall breakers on the right side. And we are up in damage. And he starts going with hogs in the back, but it's okay. I'm gonna be able to defend that pretty easily. And that wasn't really a good Evo Musk timing from him because I had troops on his field, so the musketeer was busy actually killing the troops. Here we go with a really good prediction log on his skellies. Like if you guys really want to get better with cycle decks, you need to know your opponent's cycle and elixir. That's the only way you're gonna be reaching the top. Doesn't matter which decks you play, you need to know elixir and cycle. But if you're playing with cycle decks, you have no other choice. You have to know. Anyways, I block the musketeer with wall breakers and then go with bats just to kill it. Like as I said, I just defended his 6 elixir push for 4. It's not actually a really good play. We go with bomb tower like this and then spear goblins because there's a chance he spells the bomb tower away. He actually cycles back to a new hog, but I was pressuring just to not let him attack. And he wasn't able to go with his hog. And look at this offense. I go with knight and then spear goblins, and then I go with wall breakers first. And then I go with miner after the wall breakers. I've seen Remieli do this. He would go wall breakers first and then miner. And whenever they log, they actually end up connecting when the opponent doesn't expect it. And that was just a perfect game. See you guys with the next match. Okay, the next match here is the famous bridge spam deck. The brand new bridge spam with Evo Executioner, Evo Snowball and Boss Bandit. Okay, key card here, I would say bats, probably, because if you cycle out their executioner and snowball, your bats are gonna get a lot of value, especially Evo bats. Like let's say you get the Evo bats down really early and you heal them up, they're not even gonna be able to kill the bats with the snowball. So that's actually really clutch. Here I was down a bit, but I dropped my knight and I dropped it to the side, to the right side, because I was expecting that he's gonna pressure on the right. I go with a really good well-timed log just to push the Ram Rider back, recharge it. I mean, restart the charge, reset the charge. And I kind of pulled it to the left side so that my knight could reach it earlier. The wall breakers weren't really good from me. I just didn't want to pressure here because I knew that he had executioner. I go with miner just to respond to the ghost. Okay, so here, as you guys can see, I don't want to drop my bats because I know he's back to the executioner. So we're chilling and we're actually in a really decent spot. We have done a crazy amount of damage on the left side, but in this matchup, anything can happen because the boss bandit can go crazy sometimes. Okay, we log just to take care of that bandit and I go spear goblins because I know it's gonna get damage if I just let it go. Here I kind of expected him to drop something on the offense. That's why I drop my wall breakers. Then I block the boss bandit with the knight and then I go with miner on top of the executioner. Then I go spear goblins like this. I know that he was not gonna be able to predict it. Here, I actually played a bit bad, but it's okay. Ghost can get some damage, I don't really care. You need to watch out for the boss bandit and Ram Rider. Ghost isn't really that big of a problem if you ask me. You can even let it connect to your tower sometimes. Okay, here we have done dual lane pressure and I pressure here. I know that he's gonna drop his snowball. So I actually waited here. Now I go with the spear goblins in the back, knowing that he doesn't have any card to kill my spear goblins when he doesn't have the snowball in his hand. They actually get so much value. And guys, this is what I'm talking about. My bats are healed. He's gonna executioner on the right? So I don't rush. I go with miner in the back just to respond to the ghost, and then I go with spear goblins again. But on the other hand, I pressure on the left because he doesn't have his executioner, and guess what? He actually messed up with the defense there. That wasn't really good. Anyways, we're gonna take the W here. The opponent made some mistakes, but the game was good overall. See you guys with the next match. Next game in here is gonna be Lava Hound. Just like the Expo matchup, this isn't perfect either, but it was so good that I had to include this game. Just watch this game, bro. I only had two games that I felt like I didn't play perfect, Expo and Lava Hound. And Lava Hound is one of the few matchups that you can't actually give overall tips. Like if you ask me personally, because it all depends on the cycle and the level of the player. Like Lava Hound players can be really different. Their thought process and experience and stuff, they can be on whole other levels when compared to each other. But overall, I like to pressure dual lane, pressure in single elixir, and just to never drop both my air cards if possible. And if I drop my both air cards, I actually don't stop pressuring. Here I go with bats and miner because I want to force out the zap, or else my bats are gonna get some value on the lava hound. He decides to let it go. I think that was actually a really good play because it didn't actually do that much damage. Here I go with bomb tower like this, and guess what? I misclicked it, bro. If I didn't misclick, I was gonna be totally fine with the poison and spear goblin, but because of that misclick, I actually sold the game. At least that was what I thought at the time. I go with the spear goblins just to DPS the balloon down so that I don't get 3 crown, but the balloon still gets a hit. Like balloon can be really annoying sometimes. He goes with scary dragons and zap, and after seeing that I go with my bats. I know that he has to fireball that, and after he fireballs I pressure. I know that he's gonna be able to defend. I did all that for what? Just so that my miner could get damage. I know that my cards weren't gonna get any value, so I did the miner on that spot just to get some damage. And the key card here, I would say Spear Goblins and Bats would be the key cards because they defend the air, and you just need to drop them as much as possible. Like as you guys can see here, I have my bats, and look at this, bro. I dropped my bomb tower, and this time my bats sold me. They just pushed the balloon out of the range of the bomb tower, and look at this, bro. I just got unlucky 2 times in a row. But we take his tower, and it's gonna be a king tower versus king tower situation. Here I actually don't let him take my tower because I want him to spend. If he zaps, he's not gonna have anything for my bats, right? Then I go wall breakers. Now that I think about it, I should have dropped my wall breakers on the right side just to not give him value. But here I'm gonna not stop the pressure, bro. I'm gonna pressure like hell. I'm not gonna let him drop his lava hound or anything. I don't care if it's double or triple. I'm gonna go like hell, bro. Okay, look at that damage on his tower. He has barely touched our tower with the balloon in the single elixir. Other than that, he hasn't really done anything special. I'm back to my miner. I drop it again, and he wasn't able to predict it. With the Valkyrie, he actually decides to drop it later. And look at the wall breakers. They connect again, but will I stop? No, bro. I won't stop. I'll go crazier, even crazier. Okay, he drops the scary dragons in the range. I go with miner in a spot that he can predict, and I go with poison. I go with wall breakers. There's nothing he can do. That was a perfect game. See you guys in the next match. The next matchup here was against miner rocket control. There's a player named Nate. He's actually the best miner rocket player. You guys probably know him. And he's the only guy that runs this deck, to be fair. I think it's a really tough miner deck to play. Like some matchups, it can be really good, but in some, it's really terrible. Bro, just look at it. How do you defend Lava Hound? Like, I don't understand. How does this guy play against Lava Hound? I know that he can cycle a bunch of cannons and deliveries and rockets. But overall, it's a really hard deck to use, to be fair. Okay, overall tip, you can actually outcycle them if you're really, really good with your cards. I'm gonna be, I hope I show you guys here, and because I'm gonna do a really cool play here. And you shouldn't really go aggressive in the same lane. You actually need to split up your troops because they have delivery. They can actually be really, it can actually be really easy for them to defend. Okay, here I pressure. I know that he's gonna delivery. And then I go with Spear Goblins in the middle like this. And then I log, and then I go with wall breakers at the bridge. Just look at that, bro. He even messed up the log. How does he defend? He can't. That was a really perfect play from me. And now I realize he's really down on Elixir. I pressure with the Miner and Bats. Look at this. He needs to defend one of them and let one other go. I know that he's low on Elixir. I pressure with all I have, Spear Goblins and Bats and stuff. And we almost take his tower here. And whenever you get in these types of situations, you can actually call yourself the winner because it's impossible for Miner Rocket to get back to the game from this point on. Like, I'm not gonna let him just go Miner Rockets on my tower. That's 9 elixir. If he does that, I'm gonna respond with Miner Poison. What goes around comes around. Sorry, buddy. Okay, and then we pressure. He goes with cannon. He doesn't give up, but it's already game at this point. That offensive sequence in the single elixir actually won me the game, and that was a really decent game. He doesn't surrender here. I go with bats just to split them up. Some of them take care of the guards and some of them DPS the miner down, and they don't get in the radius of the rocket. You actually sometimes need to ignore the miner if it's possible because they're gonna rocket afterwards. Anyways, that was the game for miner rocket. See you guys in the next match. This is one of the most requested matchups. I know that most of you guys have trouble against Pekka and Goblin Giant. I actually had 2 games and I decided to include this one because it was actually really good. And by the way, guys, if you want, I can actually do these types of series for one deck. Let's say you have trouble against logbait, you can ask me in the comments and I can include 3 or 4 logbait games. I think 4 is a bit too much, but 3 is standard. And the reason I'm saying logbait because I didn't actually face logbait in the season end, or even if I faced, maybe I lost. That's why I'm not going to be including them in this series. I don't have any logbait matchups, but I can do it later if you want me to. And in the channel I have so many logbait matchups. Logbait isn't as popular as it used to be because in few seasons ago, let's say 3-4 seasons ago, it was actually dominating the meta. Anyways, in this matchup I would say your Evo Bats are key and you need to do dual lane pressures, and whenever they drop their, let's say, Pekka, you can actually pressure other lane, but you need to watch out because they can ignore and go Goblin Giant and Pekka at the bridge. And try to save your bomb tower. Bomb tower is a key card. Bomb tower just gets so much value. You need to have your bomb tower every time they have the Goblin Giant. So let's say they go Goblin Giant in the back and you drop your bomb tower late. You need to have it for the next push. And whenever they go with a Goblin Giant, you need to go wall breakers into the face of the Goblin Giant. Here I log just to kill the bomber, and then I go with bats. Whenever your opponents have Goblin Giant, you can actually drop your bats in that way. Then the Spear Goblins kill the bats one by one, so it takes them 5 shots to kill the bats. So you basically turn a Goblin Giant into a giant with 2 elixir. But most of the time they actually arrows, they have rage zap arrows and they take them out. Okay, here he ignores the knight and goes with everything. I go with poison because 3 tanks are down. I need to poison. I go with miner and knight just to DPS the Goblin Giant. And after that, I go with Spear Goblins like this because if he curses, that's gonna activate the King Tower. And look at that. Bro falls to that trick and he activates my King Tower. whenever your opponents have curse, you can actually go with Spear Goblins in that placement. So if they curse it, you're gonna get the free activation. Here I go dual lane pressure, he drops the arrows, but guess what? I have wall breakers and stuff. And even if he defends that, I'm gonna pressure on the left. And even if he defends that, I'm gonna poison on the right. We take his tower. You need to watch this matchup and play a lot in order to learn. See you guys in the next match. Okay, the next game here was Graveyard, the new version Graveyard with Evo Witch and stuff. It's actually a really tough deck, but if you don't play with Cannoneer, you can win. If you play with Cannoneer, you can. It's just an auto loss. Let's be fair. There's almost nothing you can do. Okay, key cards, as usual, Spear Goblins. Spear Goblins are one of my favorite cards. Probably the favorite card, my most favorite card in the game. What you need to do is abuse Spear Goblins against the Graveyard or even Evo Witch. And block the Evo Witch or Witch with Knight and Miner and get value with the Spear Goblins on top of, let's say, Witch, Skeletons and Graveyard and stuff. And by the way guys, if I sound a bit different, it's because the games were too much and I'm a bit tired right now. It's actually not easy for me to just upload all these games in a row. And I actually predicted his Spear Goblins there. That was actually a really decent prediction. Here we're done a lot on damage, as you guys can see. Most of the times, minor players would just give up. And just because you have a poison doesn't mean you have the matchup. Graveyard usually counters poison decks. Like I said it, bro. And I can prove it to you guys. It's as simple as that. Here I go with Miner just to predict his Evo Witch. But this guy was smart because he realized that I'm doing predictions, so he didn't fall for it for a second time. So I realized that I'm against a really good player. I changed my play style. Here I go Spear Goblins, as I told you guys, to get value on the bats and stuff. I actually messed them up here. I should have dropped them one tile to the left, but it's okay. I go with bats and wall breakers. I just did the wall breakers just to take out the bombed, the goblin hut. I actually knew that I'm not gonna get them to the tower, but it's not a bad trade. You destroy the goblin hut for 2 elixir. It's still good. Here he goes with knight. I block the knight at the bridge just so that one Spear Goblin and the tower and bomb tower and stuff can clear the graveyard skeletons. I go with defensive wall breakers just to kill that witch. Guys, feel free to use your wall breakers defensively in any matchup, because most of the time your opponents are going to be able to defend the wall breakers, the Evo ones. So if you use them defensively, that's still a good play. Don't be hesitant to use them as a defense. Most of the time I drop them, let's say, against Archer Queens, Evo Witches and stuff. I tried to predict his Evo Witch here, Witch, and we got it. Perfect prediction, and then I go with log and we get double connection on his tower. That one sequence just won me the game. You can actually skip back and rewind back and watch it over and over. Sometimes all it takes for you to win a game is one prediction, one good prediction, and you win. And guess what? I'm up in damage and now he's actually kind of looking bad. And he's desperate for damage. He's gonna attack now. But it's obvious that what his attack is gonna be. I realize it. I go with poison this time just to change things a bit. I go with miner with the perfect timing because he wasn't able to drop the knight, and Spear Goblins aren't really a perfect counter to knight, at least in this position, because every bit of chip damage matters. I go with poison on top of the tower, and then I go with wall breakers because if that knight connects, that's gonna be game. And that was just a perfect game. See you guys in the next match. Okay, this matchup is against Mega Knight with Dagger Dodges. Bro, you guys know, if you're old in the channel, you guys know that I hate Dagger Dodges. Probably one of the worst things to face. Like, I would rather face any card, any broken card, but not Dagger Dodges. It's just so bad. And look at the deck. He has Prince, he has Mega Knight, he has Lightning, he has Arrows, he has Archer Queen, he has Lumberjack, and I said all of that. It's just a terrible matchup if you ask me. I had another matchup against some player with goblin gang and bandit version. That's actually a really good Mega Knight match, but I wanted to include this one. Here I pull the cards into the middle with bats and spear goblins and stuff, and I was actually able to defend Prince and Archer Queen at the same time, but things are gonna get worse here because it's a Mega Knight matchup. He has Dagger Duchess, and by the time passes in double and triple, it's almost an impossible matchup. I need to play really, really well. I can't even go with Split Wall Breakers because they're not gonna connect to the tower. Guess what? I always go with Lock on the gang, on the, like, let's say, most crowded lane. I go with bats like this because the rage is not gonna do anything, and then I here expected him to do arrows, because that's why I dropped my wall breakers, but he actually dropped his queen, and the queen didn't actually fully defend the wall breakers, so we're chilling here, bro. I go with knight like this because I actually thought that he's gonna prince at the bridge if I did block the queen with the knight. Usually I block the queen at the bridge, so even if they do go with early ability, the queen kind of runs out the ability and my tower starts shooting it, if that makes sense. The key card in this matchup, I would say bomb tower and probably luck for prediction for the bats. I hope I'm able to show you guys in here. I usually go with bomb tower in that position just to pull everything to the middle. You go bomb tower one tile higher, and then I go with poison and then wall breakers just to keep everything in the middle and keep it safe. And we just defended that for no damage, bro. Prince, Mega Knight, Lumberjack, no damage. Here I let the evil Lumberjack go because the rage is out of the range of the tower and stuff. I go with log on the crowded gang again, and then I go with bomb tower in that same position. If they drop queen at the bridge, you need to poison on top of everything just to get value. I go with knight, but I know that the queen is gonna take it out. There's not much I can do. I go with spear goblins because I don't even want to take even that one single shot from archer queen because she does a fairly good amount of damage. Here I see that he drops his Mega Knight. I immediately go with wall breakers because the Mega Knight can't actually stop the wall breakers if they drop it in the back. They need to keep it in their hand so that they go reactively with it. We go with bomb tower like this, and guess what? I see that this guy has lightning, and in this point I was really worried, like, it's okay, I'm up in damage, but with one single mistake, he can take my tower. It's as simple as that. I go with gang. I go with wall breakers and then predict his gang. That's what I'm talking about. That's why the lock can be key in sometimes. And then I pressure. I expect him to arrows here. That's why I go with wall breakers, but he doesn't do it. He goes with Mega Knight. Here I could have done Spear Goblins, but it was a bit risky. That's why I didn't do it. I go with Lug, and he's already in a really bad spot. I just need to drop one miner so that I can get him down to poison range. But he actually dropped his lumberjack, so it wasn't possible. The poison is not going to take the tower here, I believe. That's why I'm busy defending. Guys, just pay attention to the defense. Like, I'm defending as good as I can. And then I go with wall breakers just to pressure, but the lumberjack actually came back and defended it. But it doesn't matter here. Poison log takes the tower, and that was GG. See you guys in the next match. Okay, the next matchup here is going to be RG Monk. I think RG Monk is a really decent matchup for minor wall breakers, to be fair. But he was playing with Evo Executioner. I didn't have any Evo Hunter matchups, so I did it here. I include this game here. In RG matchups, you need to pressure dual lane most of the time because they're actually not going to be able to defend both lanes. Your key cards here, I would say, is bats and log and stuff. You can actually go predictions with miner. For example, when you know they have hunter or executioner, you can go with miner in these spots. Let's say on offense, you go wall breakers and then you drop your miners just to block the executioner or mostly hunters, and your wall breakers connect. And you can even go with log just to take out skellies or even push back the fisherman's electro spirits and stuff. But if they go with fireball, it's not gonna be good. Here I just did that miner in order to get his fisherman, but it didn't work, and we did a really late bomb tower, but it doesn't matter here. Why? Because it's actually gonna take out executioner, so we're chilling here, bro. We are actually fine here. Okay, he's up in damage in one side, but we have done dual lane damages, and it's actually really looking not bad for me. Here he goes with fisherman. In this spot, I could have dropped my knight at the bridge. That wouldn't have been a bad play, but it doesn't matter. Here I go with miner just to block the fisherman and even the tower, so my wall breakers connect. And then I pressure with in the right side because I know he's really down. And look at the bats, they're actually gonna cook the fisherman. I wish I dropped them 1 second earlier. My knight wouldn't have been far from the tower and would have got a few more shots or hits, I mean. Anyways, we go with miner in a really different spot just to not get predicted. I go with knight and he goes with RG in the back, and I know his plan. They usually do this. They drop one RG and they drop another one on the left side, and that was a really good prediction of Skellies with the log there. Here I go with bats. I actually predicted his executioner, and that was just a decent prediction, and we take no damage from the RG. And look at the knights on the left. And guys, in this matchup you can actually try to defend the RG without a building because they actually don't support their RG, and whenever you drop your bomb tower, the RG takes out the bomb tower and they drop another one on the other side and you have nothing for it. And they actually full support that RG, and that's the terrible part. But if you feel like they're not gonna their plan is not supporting the RG and their main plan is to go with another RG on the other side, you need to defend the RG without the bomb tower, just like I did many times, and just right now I did it again. And how many times did I say RG, by the way? Like, I said too many RGs in one sentence. And here I know that he needs to drop the executioner for the bats, so he won't have anything for the wall breakers, and that was GG. Okay, for the last game here, I think in my opinion, the hardest matchup in the game, Goblin Giant Sparky. If you guys play with this deck for a while, you know that this is probably one of the hardest matchups, if not the hardest, in the game for this deck. Okay, overall tips. Guys, I have no tips. I don't know what to do in this matchup, to be fair. Like, whatever you do, it just doesn't work well. Well, jokes aside, you can always be aware of their heal spirit in the cycle, so whenever they want to drop it, you can log. Don't drop your cards at the bridge because they always drop electro wizards and heal spirits and they just get rid of your bats and stuff. Be patient, don't overspend and play defensive. And what I usually do, I actually go bomb tower and poison on the Goblin Giant and Sparky just to get rid of them. And he even plays with Dagger Duchess, bro. It's even a worse matchup. Okay, here I go with log, and look at this wall breakers placement, guys. If you do wall breakers like that, the Dark Prince actually kills one of them, even if they're normal wall breakers. And here Dark Prince died really early. Even if he doesn't die, it's just gonna follow the wall breaker to the tower, and the wall breaker actually reaches the tower unless they do something, or unless they have Dagger Duchess. It works well against the princess and royal chef. We take his tower here because we actually abused him being low on elixir, but he won't stop. He goes with Sparky in the back. The fun begins now, bro. The real fun begins right now because he's gonna do a really good dual lane pressure. He wants to make me think that he's gonna Goblin Giant on the right. But guess what? He goes with it on the left. Maybe it wouldn't have been a bad play if he did it on the right, but look at this offense, bro. I go with knight and the knight gets evaporated. But look at this defense, bro. I go with wall breakers just to kite the elite barbs all over to the arena, and they just come back. Now I need to defend them all over again. I go with knight like this, and then I go with wall breakers again, and then I kite them twice in a row with wall breakers, because there's no way for me to defend that. How am I supposed to defend that, bro? How am I supposed to defend a goblin giant and elite barbs on my face? And then I go with knight onto the side. It's okay if the goblin giant gets some damage, we can take that. And that was just a perfect game. And that's gonna be it for the guide of minor wall breakers, guys. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it if you watched till now. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and let me know in the comments if you have any success or even questions, and see you guys in the future videos. Bye.